That morning cup of coffee is a ritual for so many of us. It's the warm, comforting start to our day, a familiar friend that helps us wake up and face the world. But have you ever stopped to think about what happens to the coffee we don't finish? That last little bit at the bottom of the mug, or the cold coffee left in the pot from yesterday. It might seem like a tiny amount, just a harmless splash. Many of us, without a second thought, pour this leftover liquid straight down the kitchen sink. It disappears from sight, and we assume it disappears from our world, but that is far from the truth. This small, seemingly innocent act is repeated in millions of homes every single day. Globally, people drink an astonishing 2 billion cups of coffee daily. In the UK alone, that number is around 98 million cups. When you add up all those little splashes of leftover coffee from every household, every cafe and every office, it creates a huge volume of liquid waste. This collective action turns a personal habit into a significant environmental issue. The problem isn't just one person's coffee, it's the combined effect of everyone's coffee entering our delicate water systems together. The main issue with coffee is not just the liquid itself, but what's inside it. Coffee is a complex brew full of different compounds. The most famous of these is, of course, caffeine. This is the very thing that gives us that boost of energy, but it's also a powerful chemical. When we pour coffee down the drain, we are introducing this chemical into a system that was never designed to handle it. Scientists now call caffeine an emerging contaminant because it doesn't break down easily and its presence in our environment is growing, with consequences we are only just beginning to understand. It's not only the leftover brew that poses a problem. Those wet, clumpy coffee grounds that we scoop out of our coffee makers and filters are also often sent down the drain. People might think they will just wash away, but they don't. Coffee grounds are solid organic matter. They can easily clog up your home's plumbing over time, leading to expensive blockages. More importantly, when they eventually make their way into the wider sewage system, they add to the burden of organic waste that our water treatment facilities have to manage, making a difficult job even harder for everyone. When you pour coffee down the sink, it begins a long journey through a network of pipes. In many places, like much of the UK, our homes are connected to a combined sewage system. This means that the wastewater from our kitchens and bathrooms travels through the same pipe as the rainwater that runs off our streets and roofs. On a normal day, this combined flow of water is directed to a wastewater treatment plant. These plants are designed to clean the water by removing harmful bacteria and pollutants before it is safely returned to our rivers and seas. However, these treatment plants are not perfect, and they face big challenges. Caffeine is particularly tricky to remove. The effectiveness of a plant can vary, with some removing as little as 60% of the caffeine that enters the system. The efficiency depends on many factors, including the technology used, the season, and even the water temperature. This means that even after treatment, the water released back into the environment can still contain significant levels of caffeine. It's a persistent chemical that slips through the net, entering our natural waterways and accumulating over time. The problem gets much worse when it rains heavily. A sudden downpour can overwhelm the combined sewage systems. There is simply too much water for the pipes and the treatment plant to handle at once. To prevent sewage from backing up into our homes and streets, the system is designed with an overflow mechanism. This diverts the excess, untreated mixture of rainwater and raw sewage directly into our rivers. This means that all the coffee, caffeine, and other pollutants we wash down the drain are discharged straight into the natural world with no treatment at all. This isn't a rare event. It happens more often than we'd like to think. A recent government inquiry in the UK highlighted the poor state of our rivers, partly due to these overflows. Every time we pour coffee down the drain, we are contributing to this pollution cocktail. We are adding a dose of caffeine and other organic compounds to the untreated wastewater that can end up harming the fragile ecosystems in our rivers. It's a direct line from our kitchen sink to the heart of our natural environment, bypassing the safety nets we thought were in place. Once caffeine enters our rivers, lakes, and even the sea, it starts to affect the plants and animals that live there. We drink coffee for its stimulating effects, but for tiny aquatic organisms, that same stimulation can be harmful or even fatal. Recent studies have shown that even low concentrations of caffeine can disrupt the lives of some of the smallest inhabitants of our waterways. It can interfere with the growth, metabolism, and even the movement of freshwater algae and tiny aquatic fly larvae, which are a vital part of the food web for fish and other animals. The impact of caffeine pollution is now a global issue. Scientists have tested rivers all over the world, and the results are concerning. One major study looked at 258 rivers across 104 countries and found caffeine was present in more than half of them. Traces of caffeine have been detected in waterways everywhere, from the bustling rivers of Europe to the pristine environments of Antarctica. This shows just how far-reaching our daily habits are. The coffee we pour away in our homes is contributing to a worldwide contamination problem, stressing wildlife in ecosystems thousands of miles away. But it's not just the caffeine. Even decaffeinated coffee is bad for our waterways. All coffee, whether it contains caffeine or not, is acidic. When large amounts of it enter a river, it can lower the water's pH, making it more acidic. This change can be incredibly stressful for fish and other aquatic life, which are adapted to a specific pH balance. Furthermore, coffee contains organic compounds that need oxygen to decompose. As the coffee breaks down in the water, it uses up the available oxygen, leaving less for the fish and insects that need it to breathe. The nutrients in coffee can also trigger another serious problem: algal blooms. These nutrients act like a fertilizer, causing algae to grow rapidly and uncontrollably, turning the water green and murky. While this might sound like a sign of life, it's actually very dangerous. When these massive blooms of algae die and decompose, the process consumes a huge amount of oxygen in the water. This creates dead zones where oxygen levels are too low for fish and other marine life to survive, leading to a reduction in biodiversity and damaging the health of the entire river ecosystem. The good news is that protecting our rivers from coffee pollution is easy, and it starts with simple changes in our own kitchens. Instead of pouring leftover coffee or used grounds down the drain, we have much better options. The very best thing you can do is to add them to a compost heap or a food waste recycling bin, if your local council provides one. In a compost pile, the coffee grounds and liquid break down naturally, turning into nutrient-rich compost that is fantastic for your garden. This way, your coffee waste helps create new life instead of harming it. If you don't have access to composting or a food waste collection, don't worry, you can still make a difference. Let your leftover coffee cool down completely, and then you can pour it into a sealed container, like an old plastic bottle. Once it's full, you can put it in your general waste bin. The same goes for coffee grounds. Just scoop them into the bin instead of the sink. While this might not seem as green as composting, it is still a much better choice than sending the coffee into the water system, as modern landfill sites are designed to contain waste and prevent it from polluting the surrounding environment. There are also some creative ways to reuse your coffee waste at home. You can dilute leftover brewed coffee with water, about 1 part coffee to 4 parts water, and use it as a tonic for your acid-loving houseplants, like ferns and roses. They will appreciate the nutrients. Small amounts of used coffee grounds can also be sprinkled directly into your garden soil to improve its structure. Just be careful not to put too much in the same spot too often, as a buildup of caffeine could eventually harm your plants. Moderation is key. Every small action we take adds up to a big impact. By choosing to dispose of our coffee waste responsibly, we are taking an active role in protecting our precious natural world. It's a simple change in our daily routine that helps keep our rivers and seas clean and safe for the wildlife that depends on them. The next time you find yourself with cold coffee in the pot, remember that you have the power to make a better choice. Let's work together, 1 cup at a time, to protect our beautiful planet for generations to come.